In this video, I'll be covering something that we all love to hate, and that is our passwords. Managing our passwords, creating new passwords, remembering them all. When we forget them, it's the worst. Passwords are one of the worst things about digital life, and in this video, we'll be solving that for you. So I've worked out how to pretty much avoid passwords altogether, and for about the last year or so, I've managed to live practically password free, and I know that has helped me a whole lot, and that's what I'm going to be covering today. A step-by-step, how do you get from where you are today, using the free tools and technologies out there to get to the point where you can almost do the same. So here's the problem. In this day and age, we are expected to create 1,001 passwords for all the apps and systems we use at home and at work. And what ends up happening is we all just use the same password for everything because it's too hard to remember. It's too hard and too disruptive to actually go through and create something unique for everything. But God forbid one of those passwords gets compromised, and not only does it affect that poor individual's life, but also the work, the reputation. There's so much damage that happens. Okay, so with that out of the way, we are going to get into the step-by-step guide right now. What is your current method? Do you write things down? Do you use post-it notes? Do you have it on your phone? Do you use a little bit of Google Chrome's password manager? Do you use the same password for everything? What is the current state? I need you to collate as many passwords as you can. Think about where you're storing them all because we're going to need them soon. Step 2, we need you to get a password manager. There are so many password managers out there. LastPass, KeePass, OnePass, but I personally use LastPass and it's never gone wrong for me. So what I want you to do is head over to LastPass, sign up for an account, and we'll go from there. Alright, so here we are at LastPass.com. For this video, we only need the free version. There are paid versions for extra features, and if you're a business, you can actually get a Teams edition or a business version, which has a few extra features and allows if a staff member was to leave, you can revoke access and that kind of thing. But for this video, for what I need and for likely what you need as well, we just need the free version. So head across to LastPass.com, create a new account, and the key thing here actually is this master password. This should be unique to you. You should have never used it before. It needs to be kind of like your one password rules them all. There's actually some really good advice here, and it kind of goes against conventional wisdom too. That actually a short phrase unique to your life is far more secure than some kind of version with uppercase, lowercase numbers that you can barely remember. So step number 3 is downloading LastPass onto your mobile, onto your Chrome or Firefox browser. I'll show you how to do that right now. So the easiest way to do this is just to Google it. So I personally use Chrome and Firefox. So I'll just search Chrome LastPass, and right at the top here is the Chrome Marketplace LastPass add-in. Same is true for Firefox. If I was inside of Firefox, I went to this site, I would then click on that and it would add. The last thing to do is head over to the right hand side where you need to click on this, enter the email address you used to sign up, the password, then click login, and you're away to go. Step number 4 is importing passwords into LastPass. We need to do this for it to actually work. There's 2 ways of doing this. One is we can do a bulk import if you did have all your passwords on a list or a spreadsheet. The second thing is just adding passwords in your day-to-day life. The system itself has a Chrome and a Firefox plugin, which makes it so easy to add passwords on the go. Alright, so here is an example of LastPass working. So I'm at Temi.com, which is a new site I'm testing out. And I'm going to go log in, and I happen to have the password saved to my clipboard already. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my email address. I'm going to paste this password in and click login. And we're going to see exactly what happens in LastPass over here on the top right. So if I hit login, what LastPass does is it actually prompts me straight away to say, hey, do you want to add this to LastPass? And of course, this is super handy because I don't need to worry about it anymore. This just becomes part of my daily life. I'd add, all of a sudden that's now added successfully. I can now get that from any one of the accounts, whether it's my Chrome, Firefox, or my mobile. That'll be available from now on. So we've got that part out of the way. We've got the tool set up. We've got it installed on our devices. Now comes the hard part, the habit change. There are only 2 habits I want you to worry about, and that is firstly, on every new account we need to set up a brand new password. We can do that in the app. And the second one, every time we log into a system, we need to save that password to the password manager. I'll show you how to do that now. All right, so here we are at burgerfuel.com. This is an example of how we have so many accounts, and we tend to forget that we have all these accounts across the internet. Let's just say I'm going to place an order and they ask me to sign up. So I say, okay, so I'm using my test Gmail account. Dave is my name and I'm a test phone number. And of course, at this point, I'm prompted to put a password in. The habit change here is I would normally put in a password, but what does this fuel? This fuels the idea of password reuse. So we're trying to get away from that habit. And the best thing and the easiest thing to do is use the built-in tools that LastPass offers. So in this case, all I would do is click the LastPass link here. I'd click generate secure password. It's going to send me some crazy long password that I'm never ever going to remember. I can make it 30 characters long, even longer if I want to, because remember, we're never going to actually have to type this in ever, because our system is going to do it for us. So let's create this password, 37 characters long. Click this button here to copy it. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to click sign up, and job is done. Now, I personally use an iPhone, but you may have an Android. The good news is both work and support this fully. For myself, I use the facial recognition on the phone, but others might have either facial recognition or the thumbprint. Both work and both mean that you can log into apps using the LastPass application from iOS 12 and above. And I'll show you how to do that right now because it's not set up out of the box. Alright, so the thing to do when we're on an iPhone is to go down into settings, go down to passwords and accounts, click autofill passwords, and you're going to see the 1, 2, or 3 apps that are installed that will allow this. So all I want to do is maybe untick iCloud keychain if I don't use that, because that will just be one less thing to clutter up. But when I click LastPass, it's going to actually prompt for my password, fingerprint, or even face recognition. So I'll do that right now. Unlocks, and straight away it's done, and that's now registered. So that's an iPhone. The Android, I'm sorry, I don't have one of those. So, but I imagine the process is very, very similar. All right. So what this means now is when I'm using that phone, whether it's apps or when I'm browsing in Safari or Chrome, I'm going to be able to use LastPass to autofill. This is so handy. I use it multiple times a day, every single day. So here's our example of Burger Fuel again. If I'm on the Burger Fuel app, it's asking me to log in. I would normally go, what the heck, I generated a 40 character long password. How am I going to ever remember that? Do I need to switch out of Chrome and copy and paste and all that kind of palaver? No, it actually works right inside the app as of iOS 12 or newer. So all I would do if I had done that setup is I'd click email address. I can now see right here at the bottom, it says passwords. I click on that and it's going to prompt LastPass. I will need facial recognition at this point, so it's going to be another level of security to get into it. I'm going to do that, click on that button, facial recognition. It lets me click. I literally click the button. I don't even need to worry about copy and paste. It automatically fills it. The job is done and life is now that much easier. Well, that is it for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it and you've got lots of value out of it. We've looked at setting up your password manager, changing your habits, and ultimately I hope after today you are much safer online. Things are easier for you to work day to day. And I know there is so much more on this subject I need to cover. There's a whole lot of corporate IT world that we need to take care of, and I'm sure you've got your own questions, your own comments, or maybe even concerns. I'd love you to reach out to me, DM me, or comment below on the video. I'll make further videos on this subject and make sure that I'm continuing to bring value to everybody out there.